Stop recording. Speech off.
Good morning, everyone. It's been a while since I did a morning video. That's interesting. So, I wanted to talk about PTSD a little bit. Now this is like a well-known, wouldn't call it a disability, advantage if you want to. And I struggle with that a lot. Especially after what I've been through the last, 3 to 4 years. Just go in and out. And I have these moments. And sometimes I can't really express them. Oh, that's my cat, if you can hear him purring. That's Joni Pone. He's like hella loud. Anyway, he's like, "Why are we up, Mom? You never up this early. Pet me." Anyways, so like when it comes to meeting new people and relationships and stuff like that, people don't really understand what kind of emotional and physical pain a person goes through. Just because you can't see it doesn't mean it doesn't exist, right? So, for me, like, for my experiences, there's been, I wouldn't say several guys that triggered me in different ways when it came to moving forward with the relationship. But I do know that there are some times when someone I'm interested in says certain things, it triggers me and I just go back in my shell. So, and then when I meet new friends and stuff, everything's fine. Like, I can chat with them, no big deal. But when they start wanting to, like, go places, hang out, do things, I'm very hesitant because it's like, excuse me, sir. Excuse me, sir. I love you. Yes, I love you. Don't eat my phone. He's distracting me this morning. I apologize. But it's almost like a fear of not the people you're gonna be with, just the fear of what's gonna happen when you're there. Um, like it's what would you call that? I'm trying to think of like the term, but basically it's where like you feel something's gonna happen, but nothing does. I'm I'm struggling with that this morning. I should have had my coffee first, but anyways, so with PTSD, there's a lot of different elements to it. There's the manic side of it. There's um, the complete reserved side of it, and it's just my doctor had diagnosed me with it with like I don't know, maybe excuse me, maybe like I want to say 3 years ago I got diagnosed. And this is something I didn't even have a clue that I was going through until my major collapse, when I started going back and forth to, psychiatric care, if you will. There's a lot of stuff that I remember, and there's a lot of stuff I don't remember. But that was one of the worst times in my life, and I've been through some crazy crap. That's that's why I've always been just outspoken, and just trying to have fun. And most of the time, like when I'm on here, I like to throw out some nonsense to make people laugh. That always makes me happy. I don't know. I enjoy laughter. And sometimes, yeah, my ass will go a little overboard as far as trying to get a laugh. But at the end of the day, you know, I usually get a laugh or two. And I've gotten, some people who, told me, hey, look, it's been a hard day. I really needed that. And it's like, it's all about your sense of humor. Um, and that's how I get through my PTSD is I make jokes about it. You know, to kind of make the mood not so gloomy because like it's easy, let me tell you, it's fucking easy to get stuck in one of those rhythms where you feel worthless, you feel like a piece of shit, like you don't feel like you're moving forward, um and you feel like nobody understands that you're alone. And I go through that a lot. And you know and for like family, especially family, they don't get it. They don't understand it because they're not feeling it, they're not going through it. um and it's like it's really hard when you're raising a kid and you have that problem. Sometimes you know she'll ask to go somewhere and my anxiety is so high and I'm like, no. um, but I'm also someone that goes off their gut instincts. So there's and like, okay, so perfect example, in a crowd of people I get very uncomfortable. um, I feel at a place, especially when they're not interacting, um, such as in like a family setting. And that's why I don't really go out to my brothers too much because there's a lot of people over there and they don't really interact, especially, the only time they interact with me is when they want a fucking cigarette. You know what I mean? Like, that's just kind of the dealio over there. The kids are one thing. They're, always in my face, so to speak. But, it sometimes it can get very uncomfortable, very awkward. New people come. My brother's he's very big on having a big family and having friends around. And that's just his thing. And that's okay. I used to be that way, but, after what I went through, it's a totally different thing because my brother also suffers from PTSD, but his stems from the military. Mine stems from home. So, yeah, I was sexually assaulted several times. I was mentally, physically abused. Um, Bless you, dear. Are you okay? And that's why I'm more about my animals than I am about people. Because it kind of like some people won't get it, and that's fine. I don't, I'm not here to fucking teach you life lessons about animals. You don't like animals, you just don't. But they always seem to keep me balanced. Like my Killy here, I've had him for shit 13 years now, I believe. He's an old guy. Um, and when he came to me, I didn't realize I needed him. It was just circumstantial, I guess. But I connect with animals a lot better. I mean, I love almost any kind of animal except for snakes and spiders and insects. I don't fucks with that. But like, I have Achilles. He's a bearded dragon. Um, him still a baby too. But he kind of connects more with my daughter, and that's kind of cool. So, right now myself, I only have Mr. Man who keeps on trying to be a part of this conversation. You want to say hi? Here, say hi. Say hi. Disrespectful booty hoe. All up in the Kool-Aid, but you can't say hi? I came with you. Anyways, and don't let him fool you. He's talkative. Anyway, so, you know, for example, I did go out to my brother's recently to see my nephews and everything, and I went through some heartbreaking shit, and it took me a minute to come out of it. I'm still kind of upset about it. My my youngest nephew is 7. Well, I have two nephews same age, but um, yeah, I don't know. I always call him the youngest because he was born second, I think. I don't know. I get them mixed up. They were so close. But he has a form of possibly like Asperger's, but we're not 100% sure. No tests have been ran, excuse me. So we really don't know the full diagnosis from, well, to my knowledge. Um, and his mother took him from us. Oh, my brother sent him off basically because his mom wanted him or whatever. So he was gone for a year and a half. And before he left, he was always at my house. We we'd sit down, I'd take him to the store, let him pick out his own snacks, I let him, just, pick out his own dinners, and he never fussed or fought about anything. He'd sit down and eat his food, and, like, there was no real issues. He did have a lot of temper tantrums, though. Oh, fucking A, man. I was like, what the hell? And then he got to the point where he was just peeing on everything. I'm like, hold on, bro. You are not a puppy. So, like I said, he has a lot of issues. And his mom actually was fucking god awful. And I was really upset with my brother for sending him there. Because when he was younger, she would just fill up sippy cups. And there'd be like 3 or 4 sippy cups in his crib. And she'd go out partying. Leave him in that house by himself and just go out partying. And it was really fucking, like, some of the shit that poor boy went through was just, it was so fucking heartbreaking. So my brother allowed that. I was really upset with him. I really was. I was like, you're gonna let him go back? He's like, well, that's his mom. I'm like, yeah, I don't give a fuck if that's his mom. Like, she don't give a fuck about him. Who leaves their child in a crib with just sippy cups full of different drinks? You know what I mean? And then leave. The child's gonna get hungry. And I remember for the longest time, we could not get this boy to eat food. He would always want to drink. Drink, drink, drink. And like, you couldn't really get him to eat food. Not even candy, bro. Like, she fucked him up. And so anyway, long story short, he was out there for a year and a half. He came back, doesn't remember anyone. Doesn't remember me, doesn't remember my mom, doesn't remember my daughter, nothing. And it was very devastating. And, hey, if you're gonna barf, dude, don't do it on my bed, because I will box 2 left hooks. Anyway, so yeah, it was really hard. And so you have that on top of people that you kind of really just don't want to be around. Um, my brother's entitled to have whoever the hell he wants at his house. That's his house. That's cool. But at the same time, they're really obnoxious people. There's a few of them that they're alright. But, when I go there, I always feel unwelcome, especially, towards the people that live with my brother. They don't want me there. And but they're that type that they'll make you feel that way, but then they'll be in your face like, oh, I missed you. Like, oh, get the fuck out of here, you little lying ass motherfucker. You were just talking shit. And an incident happened, and it really just ticked me off, and I was done. And I won't go into that, but you know, it's stupid things that people say, and how they feel entitled to say stupid shit. And I just, like, I get irritated with it. I really do. Like, very hypocritical in that situation. It was simple. It was a simple thing. I want to talk about it, but I don't. But anyways, so you know, first my nephew doesn't remember me, and then I feel like awkward being around them because I'm not, like, no one's really interacting. So it makes me feel kind of off kilter. Um, you know, and it's like, it's not that um, it's their fault. It's just something that I go through physically that causes this feeling and this dread and stuff. And it's, it honestly ain't got nothing to do with them. It's just, you know, certain things, but, everybody's different. Um, but, I get judged a lot for, things that I want to do for myself. I get told, like, oh, that's selfish, you shouldn't do that. Oh, think about this, think about that. And it's like, when it comes to a new relationship, I've been hurt so many times, and it's made me who I am today. Like, I'm very blunt about things, but the thing is, like, I can't be blunt about emotions sometimes. There's different, like, I can, anger, okay, yeah, I'm gonna do it. But when it comes to sadness or confusion or, um, fear, I don't express those types of things. I was always taught you weren't supposed to. Um, and when I grew up, at one point in time, I was a very emotional person. Little things could set me off. And, that could be due to what I went through. I mean, everyone that I ever trusted literally stabbed me in the back. Um, and then they got upset when I cut them off. Well, tough shit. Like, you don't get to be a part of my life while you're stabbing me in the fucking back, homie. Like, you know, um, I always I've always minded my own business when it comes to certain things. I won't get involved in things. Um, if people want to vent, that's one thing, but, don't drag me in the middle of your shit, because at the end of the day, I'm not covering anyone's ass for any wrongdoing. And nobody could seem to understand that. And I had several different situations that just drove me up the wall, and um, and when I get around certain people, they're always like, oh yeah, well, they're like, they act as if I'm gonna try to steal their boyfriend. First off, that's never been my MO, okay? Um, I don't I don't do that type of shit. I don't get involved and I start talking to your boyfriend, and then all of a sudden, like, I'm effing him on the DL. I don't do that shit. I've never been that one. I've had it done to me. But I've never been that type of person. And so when I get around certain people, just because I didn't have a great record. You know what I mean? Like, I was in my 20s. I experimented, I had fun, but I never, ever slept with anybody that was in a relationship, especially my friends, never. But there was a couple instances where some because I've always been closer with guys. I just connect better with them. Females, I don't, because I was raised by boys, like, my brother and stuff. So he taught me how to do boy shit. So I connect with them on a different level than I do females. And there's a handful of females I can talk to, but I keep them at arm's length. I don't let them around me like that. So anyways, there I had two instances before my mental breakdown. There was one instance where a friend of mine betrayed my trust and told me that he needed someone to lean on, and I've always been that kind of person. Like, I may be an asswipe sometimes, I may say mean shit, but when it comes to the real shit, you can call on me. I'll be there, like in a drop of a dime, like no problem. And he took advantage of that, and he was trying to proposition me for sex, and he got seriously declined. First of all, he was dating one of my best friends, and I'm like, no, bro, you're not getting me jumbled up in that shit. And then at the end of the day, the situation was situation. He threw me in the mix, and then the next thing everybody's mad at me. It was some fucked up shit. But I was just like, ugh, all right. And then right, like a couple months before that, I had a homeboy that I used to do music with, and he was married. And he's like, yeah, I want to come over, I want to flow with you, like, we should, get some tracks and just, freestyle. And I was all about that. Like, I used to be heavy into my music. I used to, you know, do live performances and stuff. If you look down in my playlist, you'll find it. It'll say my live performances from my old channel. I got locked out of my old channel. I was pissed. I don't even remember how, but anyways, not the point. So, so it was after a show one night, and, we took paratransit to my house, and, we were hanging out, and he was like, oh, yeah, you got anything to drink? And I'm like what? And he was like, oh, like alcohol or anything? I was like, yeah, dude, because some people need it to perform or to get in the mood, but not me. Like, I don't need to be intoxicated to do what I love. Hi, Jonas. Anyways, stop. Goofy. So basically what ended up happening is he gets drunk and belligerent, and I'm like, what the fuck? Way off kilter. I'm not expecting this at all. And, mind you, prior for him coming over, I asked him, I said, hey, supporter, know you stopping by after the show? He's like, oh, yeah. She know, and they're doing their own music thing right now. And I'm like, oh, okay, cool, because I don't want to cause no issues between nobody. I don't want to be in the middle of nobody shit. And so, as time went on, he kept trying to make advances on me. Well, it was a hell no, like instant hell no. One, you're married again to a friend of mine, and two, I just don't do stuff like that. I'm very personal. I pick who I want to, like, be with like that. You know what I mean? I make the decision. And on top of it, like, I just, ew. You know what I mean? Like, that's just gross. You don't do that to somebody. You don't do shit to someone that you don't want done to you. So definitely just kind of diffuse the situation. I mean, he was drunk, and I was just like, okay, well, um, it was kind of pissing me off because he had scheduled a ride to go home. It showed up, and he kept, oh, I lost my shirt. Oh, I lost my backpack. I can get a ride home later. And I'm like, no, you need to go now. And then before he left, he's like, oh, yeah, well, don't tell Sephora. And I'm like, what is with you motherfuckers? You know what I mean? Like, I didn't mean to name bomb, but, like, you cannot do that. And it fucking, like, ate me up. I called my homeboy. I was upset. And, so the next day, my homeboy kind of just cornered him, like, yo, the fuck, man? You know? And then he was like, oh, no, she was coming on to me, boo, boo, boo. And my homeboy knows me very well. And he goes, okay, well, how come you was the one tripping? So, like, he backed him up in a corner to where he had to, basically tell the truth. And he was just in denial of it. Like, it was just fucked up. And so basically he made me look like shit because of his own actions. And that's why I don't get involved with people, especially like when they have a boyfriend or something. I don't connect with them like I used to. Especially, because like I said, I used to kick it with the guys. Like, that was my thing. We joke around, we talk about stupid shit, a lot of immature fart jokes and stuff. That's just me. I like to laugh and stuff. And, for that to happen, I just shut down, like, completely. I was devastated because, the one that I mentioned before, that meant a lot to me. Those two, that couple meant a lot to me. I actually had love for both of them. And to be treated like that was just, man. So, like, now there's, like, when I go around that group of people, they're always like, oh, yeah. Well, girls make sure to tell me they're dating someone. Like, I'm gonna fucking swoop up and be like, yo, let me get in your man's pants. I'm sorry, that's just not who I am. And you can believe what you want to believe. I just don't give a fuck, honestly. But that's why it's hard for me now to create new bonds and create, new relationships. And that's why I backpedal a lot, especially with, like, boyfriend situations. Like, I'll like them a lot, and then I'll want to be with them. But then there's times where that instinct kicks in. Like, you've been betrayed so many times, you're like, what's different about this asshole? You know what I mean? So, like, I go through that a lot. I really fucking do. And it's very annoying. And it just makes me feel some kind of way. So, I'm taking things in a different direction now. Trying to look at them in a different angle. So, yeah. Oh, excuse me. So, yeah, like I said, I came on here to talk about PTSD and in what ways it affects me. I'm not sure, there's plenty of triggers for other people, but, I just want to come out here and share And yeah, so I don't know. It's just something that was on my mind this morning. So, anyways, I hope everyone is doing well, and I shall speak to y'all later. Bye.
Speech on. Stop recording.